Well, I think Fernando's like, I think he's surprised. I mean, he certainly surprised me how he's still able to do bring these levels at 42.
Yeah.
He's like
extract like the most out of the car.
Yeah.
Every opportunity.
Because I don't doubt Fernando is, it's just because they had such a good start to the year, it kind of set an expectation. Like even now they're still comfortably within that kind of top 5, but it's just they've not quite been able to keep up the.
Yeah. I saw an interesting thing, which is they split up the points into kind of quarter seasons. So the first half of the season split in half. So I mean, Aston Martin were obviously second place in the first half of the season.
Yeah.
But then they were 5th place in the second half of the first half of the season.
Yeah.
So they've really kind of lost some performance somewhere. I don't know if the tracks are just not suiting them anymore, or if they need to they're waiting on a big upgrade package, or but if you don't keep up with, if you don't swim with the current in Formula One, you quickly get swallowed up.
And it's so competitive behind Red Bull.
I think that's what it is. I think it's also like other teams around them have just got like better as well. Obviously McLaren have like found performance like crazily.
Yeah.
And obviously you're always going to have Mercedes and Ferrari improving gradually over time. Mercedes have had loads and loads of upgrades too.
Yeah.
I think it is a thing of like, I always say it, like Aston had like all these like this massive upgrade at the start of the season.
Yeah.
And they've had to go, right, cool, we've done that. Now we actually need to find out how we can take the next step. And in that time, everyone else has kind of overtaken a little bit.
It almost seems like they had their car was fast, and it's one of it's like a Braun GP moment where we're like, oh shit, it's pretty fast. Now what? Yeah, exactly. Now where do we go? And it almost seems a little bit like that. Like they don't really know how to maximize what they've got.
Well, they brought an upgrade to Canada, and then they got the podium, but I think they then struggled. Upgrades don't guarantee. I think it was Gunter said this a while ago. He was like, bringing an upgrade doesn't guarantee an actual uptick in performance, because you're bringing an upgrade based off of CFD, like scale model in a wind tunnel.
Yeah.
And I think that's where Aston Martin. I think this is the thing. It's like Red Bull have just consistently moved forward. Like the start of last year, they were no quicker than the Ferrari. The Ferrari was as quick as them, but they've just consistently, almost it feels like in a straight line, move forward. Mercedes have kind of been going side and they're kind of up there, maybe second quickest, maybe third quickest car now. McLaren went from nowhere to like jump up. Aston went from nowhere to jump up. Ferrari have had the second quickest car on average this year in all, and a second quickest in like high speed, low speed, medium speed, all that.
And they're 4th.
But then that's Ferrari, and they do what they do.
Yeah.
And it's like, so it's like everyone else is faltering, and that's just making this, where, like you said, Verstappen and Red Bull, it's just the military precision that they're just bringing every single race.
I think you've nailed it basically, because it's like, I mean, it isn't just that Red Bull and Max are so fast this year. I mean, you've got to, like you said, got to hand it to them. And Adrian Newey just designs cars like he just sort of wakes up in the middle of the night and just writes a car down, and then like that's the fastest car. It's like it just comes out of his brain.
And he's been doing it for years since your dad's era as well. So long.
Exactly. You just follow his career trajectory through different teams, and they've all won championships once he's moved there. So, no, but like it's not just that Red Bull are so much faster this year and they're absolutely nailing it. And they've nailed the formula, and they don't, like you said, they only need to make small tweaks. They very rarely bring a huge upgrade to really change the kind of development of the car completely. But it's the other teams are doing a subpar job to what they usually do, right? Ferrari seem to be treading water. And the large upgrades they bring get us a marginal gain in performance. It seems to me, at the same time, you've got to remember F1's moves forwards all the time. If they lined the current Red Bull up back at Bahrain at the start of the season and against the Red Bull they had back then, it would smash it, because it would be so much faster already. So Ferrari on their computer might have got, we're gaining this much time, and then for Red Bull gained that much time as well, so
that's what held Mercedes up, wasn't it? The theoretical performance of the zero pod.
Yeah.
Well, if you're operating windows like that small, then what's the point?
You'll get one good performance out of it a season, because the conditions were perfect for.
Exactly.
We've asked this question before on it, because again, there will be a team that catches up to Red Bull eventually. Maybe not to Max, and that's a different story with the drivers, but which team are we saying now? Because I've said Aston Martin previously, because I think they got a lot of ATR at the start of this year, which they won't be able to. We won't see the benefit of that until probably start of next year. Mercedes seem to have, now they've ditched the zero pod, maybe I've got a bit more confidence. Ferrari, they do have this next best car. McLaren are on such a positive trajectory and stuff. That's what I mean. Like, you can make a compelling argument for all four. But who are we saying today is the first team to catch up?
Mercedes.
You say Mercedes?
Yeah, I think the safe bet is Mercedes. Like
it's the safe bet because they just know, like,
they know how to do it.
Team, they have that immediate, like, recent pedigree as well of like, they have been making good cars and they have been dominant recently. Like, surely they've got to find something soon.
Allison's back as well in the F1 team.
Yeah,
huge for them.
That's a big catch. Yeah,
I want it to be McLaren though.
Everyone wants to be
my heart says McLaren. But every other organ in my body says Mercedes.
Every single one.
Or like,
even your skin,
kidney,
the biggest organ of them all.
Is
the
that,
skin.
Is that actually count?
Yeah. Skin's an organ.
We're going to say
Skin's
a kidney.
an organ.
Yeah, skin is an organ. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
The biggest organ. Yeah,
that's crazy. I don't know why. I just never thought that was a thing, man. Biology. Come on. That's crazy.
Always. I still, it's all that ATR at the start of the year and Dan Fallows. I just
don't say it.
I still think Aston Martin with Fernando. I think Fernando in the Aston Martin starting next year, I think he will be the most competitive next to Max in the Red Bull still.
Well, just out of interest, where will Stroll be whilst all this is kicking off?
Lance will get we'll get to the middle of next year and he'll have the odd podium, but then he will just have some absolute howlers as well. I think it will be kind of quite similar, to be honest, to how kind of relative to how Checo's season's gone this year, where Checo's either on the podium or he's like nowhere because he's fucked up qualifying.
Yeah, qualifying's gone disastrously.
Yeah, so I'm sticking to my guns. I'm still saying Aston Martin are going to be the next, but
it's a big shout.
Bold from you.
Yeah,
that's big.
Well, listen, I mean,
it's 2 out of 3. I'll say that's a bold choice.
listen. Look, we'll see. All right, people thought I was. I'm sure I made a video like 2 years ago saying like Aston Martin are going to be the next champions in like 2026, and everyone laughed at me. And then they started this season.
You're not laughing now.
No, and then they started 22 really badly, and then I made a video backtracking on that, and then they started this year really good. So then I made another video retracting my backtrack.
Well, then you got to backtrack again, surely.
No.
Outwardly, you have to backtrack.
I should have backed myself from day dot.
Politician.
Yeah, maybe that's my alternative career.